There is a room on the world's newest.
Hello, people. Hello, my sister Nicole. Oh shit.
Oh shit. Hi Nicole. I've still got Chris on, don't worry. I've got you on, Anne, as well. Got you all on. The computer's just running upstairs. Hiya, kitty cat. Right, so I'm going to make a sausage casserole with dumplings.
Yeah.
Yeah?
I left the microwave in the plug thing.
Where's my big pan?
I normally take the plug out
Hello?
straight after use.
What?
Mm.
Hiya. I did something very rare today.
Very, very rare. Yeah, very, very rare. He made me a cuppa. He made me a cup of tea. And you never ever brews up.
I hate fucking making tea. Got to make her a brew.
Yeah, that was sweet. I was just surprised. Right. I'll be right back. Mama. Baby. Right back.
How sweet? 2 sugars.
Go. Well, I have anyway. Today I just have no energy.
Huh?
I just had no energy today.
Oh, fuck. Hell, I'm onions are strong. Wow. Burning my fucking eyes.
It can't be true that they found Madeline. Oh, I've got to bloody sign in. Hang on a minute. It signed me out for some reason.
Where are you going? What to do in the bed? Bet hole. That's a good. That's what I do. You oh shit. Where is it? Where are you? That's the one. That's the badger.
Oh, I'll sign in later. I don't know why it signed me out for some reason.
That's all that prep done. That was easy. You okay, kitty? You want some treats? You want some treats? We should bowl itself, you know. We eat dinner in a bit. In a bit. Do your din-dins. Oh. Oh.
That light's flickery.
The switch. That's what you got to mess with. Fixed. You okay, kitty cat? Want your dinner? And do your din-dins. Din-dins. Do something different. Do something different for a change. my dumpling mix. There we go. Oh, my dumplings. Who the fuck keeps letting fireworks off?
No idea. They're bloody idiots because they're scaring the cat.
Scared the crap out of me before.
Made me jump and all.
Okay. That nice? Yeah. Good girl. Come on then, finish your dinner. Oh dear. My nose. Oh, we nearly ate the face.
Mm-hmm.
Very soon have that done. Oh God, Rose.
That's bugging me. That's bugging me. Hello, baby. Ba-da-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba-ba. The other way around. I'm not doing that again. Thank you. Can you feel it? Da-dum, feel it? Da-dum, feel it? Guess it's
11:44 when I
alright.
phoned them. I just phoned them up and said who I was, where I was, and I've just found the body of a young girl placed there in the house.
Police would descend on
Never
the scene
working
and
before.
begin their efforts to determine the identity of the unfortunate victim. When the report first came in, because of the body had been in the water that long, we didn't initially know who this was. Not until we'd taken the body out of the water and got them back to the hospital and started to conduct our examinations did we identify.
Hello. What you up to? Oi, 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 oi. La da 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 dee. No, you do not. Come here. Where have you been that came out? There you are. Me too. Not as much as my neighbour though. But this is gonna be a gift for her. I'm giving this to her. Owls are very intelligent. They were in the wrong bag. Mm-hmm. RBF? What's a RBF? You mean we have the same... likes the same things? Oh shit.
was that of Gemma Adams, who had last been seen some 2 weeks earlier, on the 15th of November. Friends had long suspected the worst.
Gemma, when she first went, that's when I first knew that there'd been a murder, because she'd have never just gone off. That weren't her style. She wouldn't have just left, and her boyfriend followed her about every night. So if you saw her boyfriend, you knew she was out, because he'd be a couple of steps behind her, and for her not to come back, that weren't, no way, that wouldn't happen.
I'll never forget it. I shall never forget that day. I shall never forget the timings of that day. I shall never forget the night when they it's something that's never going to go away.
With detectives now on the trail of the killer, they began looking closely at the emerging pattern. People say if you find out about the victim, you might find out how they died. The clues and list of likely suspects, however, were few and far between. When you get into this area of the sex industry dealing with men who travel from a long way away, there's also some really interesting individuals. They were starting to look at clients, friends and victimology of Gemma to find out how she lived, who she associated with. There was no indications at this stage of who was responsible for her death. Since moving to London Road only a matter of months before, Steve Wright was already known as a regular client of the girls who worked the streets surrounding his home. His history of indulging in the world of the sex industry was long established.
Steve Wright wasn't somebody who just suddenly woke up one morning and wanted to explore the sex trade or go to a massage parlour to see what it was like. This was a man who'd been dipping his toe in and out of that life his whole life. We saw the first example of that when he was travelling around the world working on the QE2 to places that opened his eyes to these sorts of things.
Wright would join the crew of the famous cruise liner in 1980, working as a steward and travelling the world.
When he was on the sort of QE2, you always thought, oh, he must be quite a smart old job. He'd tell us all the things that the travelling they got up to, and obviously a lot of hard work working on a place like that.
In that kind of job, one's got to be affable and one defers to the customer.
He'd do anything for everyone. He'd always help anyone out. If you wanted anything, he'd try and help you out with it.
I'm very confident that he would have learned how to be a ladies' man. He would have learned how to be sociable. He would have learned how to make people feel at ease and relaxed about him.
I met Stephen Wright probably in the summer of '81. He always had this sort of grin, like a guy who was laughing inside. And I was always a little bit uneasy around him. He kind of fancied himself to a degree. He was a bit of a sort of ladies' man. I don't think he dated any on board with him, because there was, very few ladies on there anyway. So whatever female company he wanted, he made use of it when we was on the shore. A lot of the ports of call that we used to go to were all in less salubrious parts of the town, sort of thing. So the ladies that he met were ladies who wanted their payment, as it were, the ladies of the night.
The strains of a life at sea would eventually take their toll on Wright. Having divorced his wife, he would return to England in 1987. Some 19 years later, as the news of the grim discovery of Gemma Adams' body broke, his story began to gather momentum. Initially, when the two girls were missing, the interest locally, certainly with the media, was mixed. They were two girls from the sex industry that got missing, but of course, when one was found murdered, now the interest with the media particularly was high. Local crime reporter Josh Warwick would be assigned to cover the case.
It was a Saturday morning and police got in touch to say that a body had been found. Any murder is headline news in the local press, and so the two girls had been missing, one of whom had been found by that stage, was really frightening and really shocking.
However, Few could have prepared themselves for the next turn in this twisted tale. We then started to search the Belstead Brook. We used a police dive team to do this, and on the 8th of December, the police dive team had worked their way from Hinklesham towards Copdock, which is downstream towards the River Orwell, and they unfortunately came across the body of another white naked female, and this later turned out to be Tanya.
Tanya had been missing for nearly 6 weeks. The discovery of her body leading detectives to believe that they were now looking for one man on a killing spree.
So we now quickly move from what was two missing vulnerable young women to a double murder inquiry.
I heard about it as soon as she'd been found, because the police had their incident vans and the rest of it at our place at the fisheries. And when I got down the next morning, they'd all disappeared. And that's when I found out that they'd found Tanya a few miles downstream.
Just 6 days on from the discovery of Gemma Adams, the revelation of a second body being found would make waves across the country.
Got a phone call from the news desk. My news editor said, look, this doesn't look good. Don't pack for a night. I would pack for the best part of a week. We don't know where this is going. So I arrived up in Copdock to the scene of where the second body had been found, Tanya Nicol. It was pouring with rain. Through the sort of windshield of the car, you could see in the distance the police car lights would lose and trees would be flashing. The road was blocked off, and suddenly what had once felt like perhaps a very short trip for an isolated, very tragic death of a young woman now took on a slightly more sinister angle.
As Christmas approached in 2006, Ipswich would be plagued by a killer on a ruthless spree. Beginning with the disappearance of 19-year-old Tanya Nicol in early November, by the 8th of December, Tanya's body and that of Gemma Adams had been found in a brook on the outskirts of Ipswich. While the town came to terms with the grave situation, an ominous atmosphere began to envelop the area.
A little bit of unease started to creep in, like not wanting to walk out on your own at the night time once it got dark, and making sure your children were okay and escorting them everywhere.
There was a culture of fear in many respects. There were more police on the streets, handing out rape alarms to women.
Friends of the street girls noticed the increased police presence was not welcomed.
To be honest, a lot of the girls was pissed off about it because you couldn't get the money. So with the police being there, they couldn't go and get what they needed to get anyway. So yeah, you felt a bit safe, but at the same time, they're all shouting at them because they want them to go away, because they want, do you know what I mean? They want people to be driving around. So because otherwise, you're not going to be going out there for nothing, really.
Then on the 10th of December, just 2 days on from finding the body of Tanya Nicol, a third horrifying discovery was made.
When I got a call from the force control room to say that a motorist had driven through the street at Necton, and this motorist reported finding what appeared to be the naked body of a female. My mind was racing when I got this call, because you're immediately thinking, who is it? And as we now know, that was the body of Ennerly Alderton.
Found laid out and posed in a cruciform position, the disturbing ritual demonstrated that the killer was becoming ever bolder. Unlike Tanya and Gemma before her, 24-year-old Annalee had not been reported missing, making the revelation of her untimely end all the more shocking.
I got a phone call from the news desk, and they said something on the lines of, you're not going to believe it, but the police have just announced that they've found the body of a third woman. Suddenly, tension raised several notches. Are we now talking about a serial killer? Are we talking about somebody picking off young women right from under the police's noses?
Living in the heart of the area from where the girls were disappearing, Steve Wright had a history of violent behaviour towards women.
He had a track record for being brutal, for being violent, against his two previous wives.
We've got an individual who would batter his partners, and we know that that's usually a hallmark symptom of men who feel inadequate, who feel they can't cope, who feel they're not in control of the relationship, and they don't feel terribly manly, that they lack something in their machismo.
Steve Wright was all about trying to be something he wasn't, trying to live out or find excitement in his life, and it was pretty tough. It's tough for a lot of people to find excitement. He found it in prostitution. He also found it in gambling. It meant that he built up debts.
By the year 2000, Steve Wright's life was in steady decline. With drinking and gambling taking their toll, Wright had accrued £40,000 of debt, yet he continued his habit of paying for sex. Graduating from the massage parlours he would formerly frequent, Wright began to take his fantasies out into the open.
Money gets tight, you have responsibilities, bills to pay. Suddenly it makes more sense to be out on the streets where you can turn a trick for 20 quid rather than 50, 60, 70 pounds in a massage parlour. And so that's how we find eventually Steve Wright coming out onto the streets rather than doing what he did to get his kicked behind closed doors.
Later that same year, Wright would hit the bottom of his spiralling depression.
He tried to top himself at one time, just with everything got to him, and then he sort of came back like they have done when they ever get in trouble. They normally come back home to see your dad and that, and he came back here. Dad sort of set him up.
This was a man either crying out, hoping he'd get caught, or being an attention seeker on the one hand, or this was a man who genuinely felt that his life was that tragic that he just needed to be here no longer.
After working in a succession of small-time jobs, Wright eventually took employment at the Felixstowe docks.
When he sort of come back here, he just went more and more silent about things. And he wouldn't sort of chat about nothing, really. He went more into himself and quiet and non-confrontational to anybody. Dad set him up at his, then he got the job down on the docks. Everything was going well. He sort of thought that's him sort of settled for now.
He was now involved in another long-term-ish relationship. And she has a normal job where the evenings are spent together. But then there's a change in job. Suddenly, his partner is now working night shifts. So Steve Wright finds himself sitting in London Road in the middle of the red light district with an opportunity to fulfil his fantasy.
While Wright struggled with his personal life, the pace of the unfolding story playing out on the streets of Suffolk continued to accelerate.
By this stage, 3 women had been found in the space of little over a week. That speed at which things were developing just meant there was shock upon shock upon shock.
The 12th of December 2006, Levington. 6 weeks on from the disappearance of Tanya Nicol, the first girl to go missing. Just 24 hours after uncovering the body of third victim, Annalie Alderton, detectives would be struck by a sickening double discovery.
I became aware that another sex worker called Paula Clennell had been reported missing by her boyfriend. He was concerned because he'd naturally heard what's on the radio and seen what was on the television. And then what happened again? There was another sex worker reported missing. Annette Nichols was reported missing by her mother. She'd been trying to get hold of Annette by her phone, no reply. So she became very, very concerned about why she couldn't get hold of Annette. So she reported missing.
I can remember going to the police headquarters after Annalie Alderton's body had been found and identified, and there was a press conference. We were handed a press release, which we weren't expecting, telling us that there were 2 more women who'd been reported missing. And I can just remember phoning the news desk and saying, this is not just about the 3rd girl whose body's been found, there are 2 more missing.
What is going on here? What are we involved with? This is like a whirlwind of all these incidents keep happening. I mean, something's happening sort of, every 24 hours.
Close friend Sarah Grimwood had been one of the last people to see Paula before she disappeared.
Me, another friend and Paula, and at the time my boyfriend, we were all in the house together. I thought she was staying in, I didn't think she was going to go out, and then I said to her, are you going to stay in tonight now? She did say yeah, but then when her stuff was gone, she changed her mind. And then the next day, she didn't come round mine and knock on the door like she does every day.
Eager to locate the newly missing girls, the police would appeal for information.
I would ask either the girls themselves or anyone with information their whereabouts.
And I can remember appealing certainly throughout that Monday for anybody that's knew the whereabouts of Annette or Paula to make contact with us.
They quickly ascertained that certainly, as it turned out, both Paula and Annette, I think they both been last seen alive about the 8th of December. So we're now the 12th of December, so there's 4 sort of days there which this window we've got to sort of try and close down.
And probably naively, I thought that they'd make contact with us or somebody would.
Their appeals, however, would prove futile.
The 12th of December, a member of the public was walking along the old A14 at Leventon, which isn't far from Nacton, and he sees in the photo about 7 or 8 yards in from the road what he believes is the body of a white man.
I'm getting there. Right, I'm going to call it now. Thank you so much for joining us. I will be live later on, so I'll see you then. Bye everybody.